Welcome back to another episode of the Dokkan Free-to-Play series, the best Dokkan Free-to-Play series on YouTube right now. And in this episode, we are going to be talking about 4 characters and 4 EZAs. The first character we're going to be talking about is Super Ribrianne. The second character we're going to be talking about is Rozie. The third character we're going to be talking about is Kakunsa. And lastly, but not least, is going to be the new Super Strike Mecha Frieza, who also has an EZA. Of course, I leave the time stamps in the description, as well as you could always go through the timeline and change it to based on what you want to watch. But if you're here to see all the episode, then let's just get straight into it with Super Ribrianne. Of course, the first 3 characters you can find in the Magical Girl Fighter story event that is out right now. And in this story event, you can get the 3 characters, Ribrianne, Rozie, and Kakunsa. These characters are actually very good. As you can see on the suggestion rating, it's going to be a 9 out of 10 for all 3 of them. This is before the EZA. They all link together. They all have the same links. They're absolutely amazing in my opinion. So if you don't have anything to do, make sure to get these guys. I actually rainbowed them. You don't have to, but I rainbowed them just because they seem really, really good. Obviously, the first character we're going to be talking about is Super Ribrianne. I'm not going to go into much detail, especially since we're going to talk about their EZAs in great detail, because if you get these characters, you're most likely going to get the EZAs anyway. But we could talk about just the base necessities for before the EZA. So, Ribrianne is actually very good. It's actually going to be your leader skill. It's going to be a Peppy Gal's plus 3 key, 88% attack and defense. That's even before the EZA, which is actually pretty decent. Super attack causes extreme damage and does lower defense on the enemy, which is very, very good. Anyway, the passive is pretty bad, but of course it does get better. It's going to be a 20% per Peppy Gal. So if you run a Peppy Gal's team, you are going to get about 100% on attack and defense, and it does recover on key orbs. So make sure you remember that, because these guys do recover, especially since they have metamorphosis, which is a link that recovers. So you're going to be recovering. You're going to be doing some really good defense, really good damage with these guys. So Ribrianne, very good, 9 out of 10. Let's talk about the next one. The next character we're going to be talking about is Rozie. I think I'm saying that right. I could be totally wrong, but it's going to be the super int version. This is probably the best one since it does raise defense on super attack, and you know the meta, raising defense on super attack is pretty good. Leader skill is going to be special pose plus 3 key and 50% on attack and defense. That's before the EZA, so it's kind of and again before the EZA. Passive skill is pretty decent, but of course it does get better over time. So it's going to be attack and defense plus 60%. Special pose categories will get a plus 1, which all 3 of them I believe are in special poses, so that does work fine. You're going to get plus 10 on defense and attack at the start of turn when there's an ally that requires that name includes Ribrianne and Kakunsa in the same turn. So if you guys are running these 3, they should be in the same turns. We'll talk about formation and all that later, but very good character nonetheless. This one would be above Ribrianne. Let's talk about the last one. The last character you get on this stage is going to be Kakunsa. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Its leader skill is the same as Rozie. It's going to be a special pose category plus 3, 50% attack and defense. This of course is before the EZA, and this one is going to raise attack on the super attack. So it isn't the meta. This is going to raise attack. However, it does do pretty decent defending once the EZA gets there. You know me, I don't like the raising of attack. I rather raise defense, but again, it is what it is. The passive is going to be 60%. It's basically the same thing as Rozie's, the exact same unit. Again, this character would also be a 9 out of 10. Very good. Although it is the worst out of the 3 characters, it is still a very decent unit, so I would pick them up just in case. As well, we are going to talk about their EZAs next, and we'll go into great detail about the characters next. The first EZAs we're going to be talking about are going to be about these Peppy Gals, but before we talk about that, I do want to go over the team comp real quick. As you can see on the little right side of your screen, we do have Ribrianne as the leader, which you should, because everyone there is going to be a Peppy Gals. You're going to bring Rozie, Kakunsa, you're going to bring Khalifa, and you're going to bring Kel. Of course, if you don't have the Khalifa and Kel, you're probably not going to be able to complete this, but if you do, if you already have them EZA like I did, I believe in week 6, we should be totally fine. These characters are actually very good. I don't even have a 6 unit, but these characters easily sweep through all of the events. If you do want a specific order, the specific order I ended up doing them in was Rozie, Ribrianne, and then Kakunsa is what I ended up doing, of course, because we had more stuff that wasn't affected by any other ones in Rozie. Once we had Rozie, we went to Ribrianne, and then once we did Ribrianne, we went to Kakunsa, just because our strengths were EZA, so that it wouldn't do as much damage. This character comp is pretty weird because I couldn't have another unit. All the other units I either didn't have or they were summonable, and I do want to do all free to play for you guys. However, if you do rainbow them, actually I don't know if it works without the rainbow, but I did end up rainbowing them. But Kel and Khalifa carries most of the time. If you get your Cyberman in the 8th position or in the 2nd rotation, you are perfectly fine. However, if you do get the Cyberman in the 1st rotation, it gets a little weird. However, you still can beat it as long as you get like Kel and Khalifa or Khalifa. Khalifa is just pretty good overall. So you should be able to do this with 5 instead of 6. Trust me, I've done it. I've completed all the EZAs. It should be pretty decent. So let's just get straight into the characters. That's what we're here for. So Ribrianne is a really decent. It's better than Kakunsa. However, I don't think it's better than Rozie. Its leader skill is still Peppy Gal's +3. It is going to be 99% attack and defense, which is pretty good. It was 50%, so now it is close to 100. For its super attack, it is going to raise attack and defense for 1 turn. So you are going to want to put additional on this guy or on this gal if you do decide to rainbow. Pretty decent. As well as its passive skill is going to be attack and defense +22 per Peppy Gal. If you do run a full team, which would be 6 times 22, you're going to be about 140%. Category allies recovers 22,222 HP per rainbow key, which is going to be really good. These gals do end up healing a lot, so it is pretty good that you get those rainbow key orbs, especially with Ribrianne. The key spear orbs obtained, of course, it does get an additional attack and defense, chance of performing a critical hit, and a chance of evading the enemy. I haven't seen a lot of invasions from Super Ribrianne. However, it probably does work when there is an ally that includes Rozie and Kakunsa. If you ever bring one of them, you're going to have to bring the other 2. I don't understand why you wouldn't, right? So if you do end up bringing one, you're going to bring the other ones. It just makes the character overall better. The links are going to be Battlefield Diva, Metamorphosis, The Innocence, Signature Pose, More Than Meets the Eye, Tournament of Power, and Shattering the Limit. They all have these same links, so if you have them right next to each other, they are going to be 100% linked. And if you do have them all the way link level, it is a very powerful unit. Really decent. As you can see, the suggestion rating is an 8 out of 10. It's not because the character is bad. It's just if you get unlucky, if you get bad RNG, you could take a couple of attempts to do it. However, I really recommend getting these characters. They are really good. So let's talk about the next one. The next character I want to talk about was Rozie. Very good unit. I actually think this is the best one overall. Just, of course, it does raise defense on super attack, and you know me, I really enjoy the raising of super attack on defense. So this is going to be the same leader skill, signature pose, 3 key, 77 attack and defense, and then you do get the int key type, which is decent. Passive skill is almost the same, but it is a little different. So attack and defense plus 80%. Before the EZA, it was only 60, so we are going to get a 20% boost. Signature pose category allies +2, and attack and defense 22%. So if you are running the other girls with them, they will be getting 22% as well if you have this Rozie with you at the start of the turn. And seals the attack of the enemy super attack when there is an ally, which includes Ribrianne and Kakunsa, which is actually very good. So if you know they're going to get super attack, boom, as long as you have Rozie with one of her teammates, that is going to get a super attack sealed, which is very good. And of course, the links are all the same. Battlefield Diva, Metamorphosis, The Innocence, Signature Pose, More Than Meets the Eye, Tournament of Power, and Shattering the Limit. This is honestly one of my favorites. Pretty good. Honestly, if you had to just do one, I know you should do all of them, but if you were to just do one, just do this one. It is very decent. However, yeah, this is probably the best one that I would give. This one would be a 10 out of 10. Of course, the suggestion rating does bring it down because, again, we only have 5 units. However, if you do have all 5 units rainbowed, EZA'd, it is very good. Worth your time. And then we're going to talk about the last character. The last character we're going to be talking about this EZA is going to be Kakunsa. Sorry, I keep getting that name wrong, unless I'm saying it right. I really don't know. So the special pose, leader skill is still going to be special pose plus 3 key attack and defense, 77%. So it's the same as Rozie. And of course you get the AGL type plus 3 as well. The super attack stays the same. It is going to raise super attack. Again, I'm really more of a defense guy. Defense is the meta, but, you know, raising super attack, raising the attack can be decent at some cases too. Passive is almost the same as Rozie's. We'll read it just in case. Attack and defense plus 80%, which is the same. Special pose categories plus 2 key. Attack and defense 22%, which is the same. And this one's going to be a little different. 22% defense at the start of each turn with a high chance of stunning the enemy as long as there's an ally who includes Ribrianne and Rozie. So, unlike Rozie where she seals the enemy attack, she can automatically stun them as long as she's next to Robina or Rozie, which is actually very, very good. And she does get that 22% on defense. So that's why I said, although it's not the best on defense, once it gets to EZA, it's going to be pretty good. And you kind of don't see it here. You kind of don't see it at all, but it's still very, very decent. Character's probably the worst one out of the three. Of course, when I say the worst one, I'm not saying it's bad. However, out of the three ones, it is the worst. It is still very good though. Links are all going to be the same: Battlefield Divas, Metamorphosis, the Innocent, Signature Pose, More Than Meets the Eye, Tournament of Power, Shattering the Limit. And categories for all three of them are going to be the same: Peppy Gals, Universe Survival Saga, Transformation Boost, Signature Pose, Space Traveling Warriors, and Accelerated Battle. So these guys are very, very good. If you run them together, it is like an unstoppable team. However, you really only need 2 of them for the team to be optimal. You don't need all 3, especially since one's going to get left off rotation, and it's just going to be rotating out. So just bring 2 at most, but again, if you need to, bring all 3. These are actually very easy to collect. Of course, you don't need 6 units. However, it does help. But with me, I ended up doing it with 5, and you guys should be seeing that as well. So these guys are very good, 8 out of 10. And now let's talk about our final character of the episode. The last character we are going to be talking about in this episode is going to be Mecha Frieza. It is actually pretty decent. However, just like all the other Strike Force Super Strikes, I don't really think they're the most best units in the game, especially with other units. Even though they do have an EZA, it doesn't really make them top tier. However, with this Mecha Frieza, there's a lot of different resurrected warriors, a lot of different wicked bloodlines you rather start over this guy. However, he's pretty good early game. So if you are in early game, make sure to get this guy. He's pretty good. However, late game, he's not going to be that useful for anything. So let's just talk about him. I did give him a 7 out of 10, which is the exact same rating I gave to Prince Vegeta last week, which makes sense. All these super strikes aren't the best, but let's go over him nonetheless. So leader skill is going to be physical and int, plus 3 key, attack, defense, and HP 70%. You don't see a lot of HP nowadays. That was a big thing back in the day, but you don't see a lot of HP leader skills. Super attack is going to raise defense for 1 turn. So if you guys do use him, if you do use to rainbow him, make sure to put him on additional and make sure he attacks first. Don't make sure he does not attack after you get hit. Passive skill is going to be attack and defense 100% when key is 6 or more, plus an additional attack and defense 100% when key is 9 or more. So if you're looking at more than 9%, 9 key, you're going to be about, I believe it's 200 if you add them both together. Yeah, plus an additional attack and defense. So it's going to be 200% if you do have 9 key or more, plus an additional attack and defense plus 50 if you are 12 key. So you managed to get this guy on 12 key, you're looking at about 250% on attack and defense, which is actually pretty decent. Plus an additional attack and defense plus 50% when the target enemy is attack down status. That's pretty weird passive skill. A lot of events nowadays, a lot of the harder events, you can't really attack down someone or defense down, but back in the old days you can do that. So if you do manage to get someone on attack down, you're looking at 300%. It's pretty difficult though, but 300% nonetheless. Plus an additional defense plus 100% when all allies attacking the same turn are wicked bloodlines. So if you put this guy on a wicked bloodline, get 12 key, and somehow get an attack down, you're looking at 400% attack. I'm sorry, 300% attack and 400% defense, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. I gotta try this guy, see if it works like that. High chance of performing a critical hit with all the allies are in the same turn are resurrected warriors. So that's pretty good, especially for the crit. So this guy does not sound too bad actually. I need to try him out. I haven't tried him out much, but if you get all those things down, if you get 12 key, if you get him on a wicked bloodlines team, and if you get an attack down, you're looking at 400% defense, and that could be pretty good. So his links are going to be Prodigies, Mechanical Menace, Bombardment, Universe Most Malevolent, Revival, Super Strike, of course it's a Super Strike unit, and Shattering the Limits. Links are actually not that bad. Prodigies, Revival, Super Strike is pretty, honestly it's not the best. However, you can make it work with a couple of units. And then for category, we're looking at Resurrected Warriors, Transformation Boost, Wicked Bloodlines doesn't need any more help. However, this is a pretty good Wicked Bloodline unit. Android Cell Saga. So I don't know how you put them in the Android Cell Saga, but go ahead. Terrifying Conquerors, Target Goku. Could be a pretty good Target Goku team. Revenge, Inhuman Deeds, Gifted Warriors, and Swarm Enemies. The only teams I probably see him running are on maybe a Wicked Bloodline. If you do have enough units to make that besides the coolers and a Inhuman Deeds and a Target Goku. I feel like a Target Goku could be good with a bunch of androids. That is going to be the end of this episode. I tried to do something different. I don't know if you guys enjoy it. Let me know in the comments below. It kind of it was a long recording, so hopefully it's not a long video. Kind of want to get into the passives, the supers, the links, categories, since I don't really do that much often. But let me know if you guys enjoy that, unless you just want me to go back how I used to. But I really like this type of format, so let me know in the comments below. Make sure to leave a like. It does tell me that you guys enjoy this type of content. And if you haven't already, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.